For 14 years and 246 games at the Collingwood Football Club, for 6 years as an assistant coach at North Melbourne, Carlton and Hawthorn, and for 2 years as a coach in the VFL at North Ballarat, Gavin Crosisca has been a champion player, a leader amongst men, a coach and a drug addict. He joins me tonight on EMT. Gavin, thank you for coming on. This is a remarkably brave thing for you to do. First of all, is it true that you're a drug addict throughout your career?
Yes, it is, Ed, yes.
What were you taking?
I obviously was drinking alcohol. I used cannabis consistently through my career and ongoing until the 5th of May last year, and I was using amphetamines. Speed? Yes.
How bad did your life get eventually?
Well, it's a good question, Eddie. It brought me to my knees last year, the 5th of May. Nicole, my wife, admitted me into a rehab facility where I spent 30 days and I guess was my eyes were opened up to a new way of life, I guess, because all I'd known was masking and covering feelings and emotions up with drugs for so long.
How were you able to cover up this drug dependency throughout your entire career and from your family?
It's a tough question, Eddie. It's something that, look, in reflection and learning about addiction and the things that we need to do to keep ourselves hidden from others, the isolation. I guess it's. I can't really answer it. I know that it's a lot of manipulation, a lot of lies, a lot of dishonesties. If I was ever confronted, it'd be defensive responses from me, blaming others, just those sorts of things.
Your nickname was Bagger because you used to be aggressive in that situation, that you were always a bloke at football clubs who would tell it as it is, but you're into other people. Was that a defensive mechanism? You said, as we were talking coming into this interview, that lying became a lifestyle for you.
Yeah, it was lying about covering up my disease and what I thought I needed to do to live. It was a survival mechanism. It's obviously not the right one, and it was it ended up completely devastating my family and my life as I knew it. But it was something that I did, and look, I can't even say regrets. In regards to my past using, the one thing I regret is hurting my wife and family the way I have. Even during my using days, it was such a difficult time for myself. I didn't know why I needed to do this. I know that my addiction was triggered when I had my first drink as a 15-year-old. That was a complete blackout situation. I drank a lot more than what the other guys around me were, drinking a spirit straight. And I knew that was when, in reflection, where my addiction started, and cannabis started straight away then.
But let's go back to the start. Let's go back. So you're 15 years of age, you're in Queensland?
Yeah.
What happens?
I just made All-Australian teams in regards to probably being the best player in Queensland at that stage, and made the Teal Cup All-Australian team, the schoolboys All-Australian team.
It's a great moment in your life. You're on the cusp of manhood.
Yep.
Maybe even a shot at the VFL.
Yeah.
You had a celebratory drink with your mates, or was it let's go out and get pissed?
No, it was a party. I was at as a youngster, and we thought we were doing the right thing. We waited till all the people left the party, and then we brought out these bottles. We all had a bottle each, and
what'd you have?
It was a bottle of Bundy rum.
Yep.
Had a guzzle. All the other boys had a guzzle, and that was about it for them. And I had another two. And as I said, it was a complete blackout. I can't remember anything. I woke up the next day in a laundry. Obviously, could imagine the parents of the boy who were at his party. They would have been very, very distraught with my state. I remember vomiting a lot, and that started.
What was next? How did you get into cannabis? Where did it go from there?
The cannabis started probably just after that. Look, my family's got a long line of alcoholics in the family. I was There's a term we use, restless, irritable and discontent as a child. I obviously had football ability, and that kept me busy on Saturdays and so forth, but it was just as soon as I had that first one, it was rolling, and it was just a matter of time before I tried the next one. And cannabis came along, and I was hooked on that straight away.
Can I ask how you were introduced to cannabis?
I can't really remember. It was just through the guys at the footy club I was playing at. I'd actually moved out of home. It's when Mum and Dad divorced or separated, and Mum went and lived with my sister then, and I went and moved with a few of the guys close to the footy club, and yeah, I was introduced through that.
One thing led to another. You then picked up by Collingwood, you came down. Did you look at that as a breaker, that this might be the circuit breaker for me? Get away from Queensland, started fresh. How old were you when you came to Collingwood with that in mind?
Oh, look, I think I was probably 17. Yeah, look, my addiction was already on fire inside me. I actually bought a reasonable amount of cannabis down here when I first moved to Melbourne, unbeknownst to my late mother. And thought that was going to be it. I was hoping I'd be able to work my way through that and then look at getting into a positive football career, Ed. Yeah. But unfortunately, yeah, I got through that, and then look, Ed, it didn't take long for me to find someone else where I can get some more stuff from.
Your mum Kay came down. She was the house mother at Coventry House, which was the house where the young Collingwood players went to. How were you able to sort of hide all this from everybody around the place?
Look, there were periods of time where there wasn't through the Coventry House days. There would have been completely limited use because I didn't have any contacts at that stage.
Yeah.
It was probably after Coventry House, after Mum passed away. I think it was probably end of '89 where I might have found some contacts in regards to other types of drugs, and then it probably flourished from then.
Well, the trigger points throughout your life, because you mentioned your parents broke up, and these are all very normal and symptomatic issues with kids coming through, trauma in their life or celebrations. Your first drink after a major achievement, making the All-Australian, getting into drugs, coming down to or when your parents broke up, your mother's passing, premiership, when we'll get to this in a few moments' time, but premierships, Darren Mullane, finishing up your career, these were all trigger points in your life. Were they things that you battled against, or are they excuses?
Look, they certainly didn't make me into the person that I am today. They didn't make me into an alcoholic or a drug addict. That was already in me. But they might have been excuses, justifications to use more. Not quite sure. It was a look. Lots of people lose loved ones to death. Not everyone will go and use drugs to cope with it.
Okay, you're breaking into the Collingwood side. You're a great young player coming through. How often were you smoking marijuana and cannabis at that stage?
I wasn't at all early days. Probably through '90, I might have started the consistent cannabis use.
Yeah. And when you say consistent, is that daily or weekly?
Yeah, daily. Yeah, it was something I needed to, or I believed I needed to sleep. It was a nighttime thing. I was completely isolated back then. I had a house out at Furniture Gully. I remember Graham Allen saying to me, "What are you buying a house out there for?" And I certainly wasn't going to tell Gubby I was going out there so no one would pop in and catch me stoned on the couch. It was purely for isolation so I can be on my own.
So you made a conscious decision to get away from all the Collingwood blokes who mostly lived around the Collingwood area in those days, and you just wanted to do your own thing because, again, that was a mechanism for you to feed the beast, if you like.
Socially inept, yes. Yeah.
Did that make it harder for you that you were socially inept in your mind, that you were this kid from Queensland, all the other things going on? Because you're well loved by everybody.
Thanks, Ed.
You were, but you were well loved by everybody at Collingwood.
Yeah, it's who I was. Unfortunately, it's who I was. It was the person I was, and I was dealing with things the best way I could.
Okay, the inevitability, and we talk about this whenever we talk about drugs, alcohol to marijuana. going up a notch,
Yeah.
up to speed, or up a few notches, up to amphetamines and speed. How did that happen?
It's just out of the blue, going to a one-day cricket match at the end of '89, I think it was. Had a taste of it, and it's, to change the inside that I was feeling, it was perfect for me. It just it gave me confidence. It allowed me to communicate well, and it changed the person I thought I was.
So that was 89-90 or 88-89?
89-90.
Okay, so going into the Collingwood premiership year. How much over that summer, and did you take speed during that season?
No, it was just a once-off, and then the next taste I had was in our grand final celebrations.
Okay, it was a very social time, the 90s. Did you do any of this stuff with other players, or were you doing it on your own?
No, it was, yeah, purely on my own. It was something I needed to do.
Just want to make it clear. So your teammates had no idea at any stage, and there were no other players sort of in your life involved in any of this?
No, it was a personal, private thing.
He need not even kick it. The drought is over. 52 years. They've waited. Let the celebrations begin.
You mentioned 1990 grand final, the celebrations. What happened there?
I think it was on the Sunday. It was offered to me, and I, for sure, hadn't had a big night the Saturday night before, and they got me through again for a couple of days.
Gavin, with 1990, you kicked that goal on the left foot, hands are in the air. Did you get a chance to enjoy the euphoria, the natural euphoria of being a Collingwood premiership star, or did the drugs take over?
Oh, look, back then, I was... Look, I guess after the grand final, it's one of relief. It's a feeling of relief. You know, you hear guys talk about the second ones. You know, they remember that a lot more, a lot easier, and I think that was a bit the case. That it was all a bit of a blur, and it all happened pretty quickly. And I don't know whether that was me not being able to feel. I've pushed emotions aside, and this is not during. I don't know I'm doing this during it. It's a reflection on knowing about my issue and the illness, and working on my recovery, and that's how I look back at this sort of stuff. And I don't know whether I enjoyed it like I should have, because whether I was happy, sad, or it was all emotions were pushed aside. It was a phenomenal experience. Whether I appreciated it or not, I don't know.
The days afterwards, and we remember being down on the Monday and everyone having the funny ties on, and everyone was there and having fun and drinking, and it was a tremendous time for everybody. Can you remember it? Did you enjoy that, or was there something else happening?
Yeah, no,
did the speed get hold of
you?
We
were
there?
drinking, Ed. Well, I was having a great time. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
I had a ball like everyone else.
Yeah,
it was a great experience.
There's going to be a few blokes who are watching this tonight who are just doing exactly this as we speak. What do you say?
Look, drugs and alcohol are a serious issue in not only sport, but in young people in society. The community needs to do a lot more. The governments and the communities need to do a lot more to educate and provide support services for these people. And I don't want to say I'm different, but a drug addict is different than a social user. Can a social user become a drug addict? You bet they can, and it's basically, it can be the start of it. Yeah. So it is a dangerous time.
I've seen plenty of people in show business over the years, and sport and general life, who start off as users and they're in control, and then one day they're not. In your case, it grabbed you from the very first go. Is that a fair comment? Oh,
look, I believe it's a genetic disposition for me, and as I said, the first one, rolled straight away.
1990, the Saturday night or the Sunday, whenever it was, the speed was going around because it was party time, and everyone wanted to go didn't want that moment to end. Everyone wanted to keep going. And did it cross your mind, knowing that you'd sort of fought all these urges along the way, not to take the step up? Or what was it that said when a bloke who comes up to you, who's clearly a dealer, says, have a go at this, it'll make you feel good, which is what they always say?
No, I didn't fight any urges at any stage. It's another part about addiction. It's instant gratification, and if it was there, I was taking it.
So that's 1990. You played up until 2000. So you got another 10 years of football, including finishing a run-up in the Copeland Trophy in 1998. How much amphetamines did you take during that period, and did you take any on game day?
No, look, it wasn't a performance-enhancing thing. It was a social thing. I took drugs because I'm a drug addict. I had no choice. Drug addicts, in the end, drug addicts don't have a choice on whether they take drugs or not. And during football, there was a period through 1992 where I lost my way in regards to alcohol and drugs.
You did your licence at one stage, didn't you? Yeah,
I lost that for 4 years for drink driving, another consequence of my addiction.
What did you blow? Can you remember?
It was .23.
Oh, that's a big drink.
My second offence, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite embarrassing.
What could somebody have done to stop you going to the next level?
Well, I don't know. I don't think anyone would have been able to.
Yeah.
I guess I look straight to support, the word support, because that's what got me help last year. It's a really good question, Eddie. I think support, having people bold enough to confront people when they're just not sure on the behaviours and maybe questioning someone.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I said, being bold and confronting them and being honest with them, because I know for myself, I would throw it straight back to you. Yeah. And I would say, oh, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
I'm all good.
Did you live dual lives then as a footballer and then the other side of your life?
Well, my reality, Ed, was me smoking cannabis.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I drank like a lot of the other guys. I probably drank more than the other guys. But it was the addiction that was just flourishing. It was just... They talk about a little man in the back of your head doing push-ups, waiting for you to, to fall over in recovery. That's your addiction. You're just in there. It's just there. Okay.
When you move out of playing into coaching, was there a moment there where you thought, okay, let's try and put this behind us, or how did you approach it? What was your life like at that stage?
The only way I could have stopped was how it happened last year, was with support and with help, and I just needed direction and I need to be shoved in somewhere.
When did your addiction to speed escalate, and how often were you using it at the peak of your addiction?
I just changed I added speed to my repertoire, and that was my drug of choice. That's about 11 years ago, and that was an ongoing daily basis for what I thought in my head was so that I could survive.
How do you function as a father, a husband and a footy coach in that environment, taking speed every day?
Well, I can tell you from a father-husband point of view, not very well. And it was it gradually got worse. I can't answer that with the coaching part of it. I had my coaching mask. I had a mask that I could put on for a period of time and do what I had to do.
You were being mentioned in dispatches as a senior coach. When you read that in the paper, what did you think?
Back early when I first started in an assistant role, it was probably Hawthorn days, when there was a few coaches getting sacked. I couldn't manage myself, let alone a list of 42 players. I was masquerading.
After the break, we speak to Gavin Crosisca about his moment of truth.